Hey everybody, welcome back to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and for another installment of Questions and Coffee with David. It is literally 4:17 a.m. on a beautiful Wednesday morning, and I'm here answering all your questions for over the last couple of days that have come in to try to help you with your production and making better music in your home studio. So before we get to this segment's questions, if you could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button below if you like what you see in this video. It really does help me and I truly appreciate it. Also go out to facebook.com/HomeRecordingMadeEasy and follow me there. And for more tips, tricks, concepts, and training around everything home recording, mixing, and mastering, please be sure to go to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. Check out the Made Easy series, the Quick Mix series, constantly adding new titles and new training products that are super affordable so it can help you in your home studio. So now let's head on over, get your cup of coffee, let's go there together and go answer question number 1. Okay, question number 1 comes from Andrew, and Andrew writes in, "Hello, I usually mix through light compression on Studio One Master Bus and would like to utilize this technique with the Studio Live 32. The issue is that I have all the tracks routed separately back through the mixer and I cannot audition or hear what the Master Bus mix sounds like in Studio One. Even if I mute the mains in Studio One, all the tracks still come through the mixer. Any solutions? Thanks, Andrew." Well, Andrew, thanks for writing in. I'm not 100% sure I totally understand. I think what you're asking is you're routing your Studio One session back to the Studio Live so you can use the faders to mix, right? And you want to be able to add some, say, compression on the Studio Live 32, and you want to hear those results in Studio One. I think that's what you're getting at. I hope so. If not, send me another email and I'll try to help you, but try to be a little more specific. So I hope I understood correctly. If that's the case, you should be able to do this. You should be able to route the tracks back in through the mixer and then use the onboard compressor on the Studio Live 32. And when you print that back into Studio One, you'll hear that affected track, in this case using compression. Now, I just did a video on YouTube about a week or two ago on showing you how to print your session from the Studio Live back into Studio One. So there's a video on that. Go check it out. You'll see it where I actually show you how to set up all the inputs and outputs just like you've done, route the Studio One session through the Studio Live, and then how to print that mix in Studio One. When you print that mix in Studio One, you will be able to hear anything that you did on the board as far as effects go. So try that, and if you've tried that and that doesn't work, or if I misunderstood your question, please rewrite in and I'll try to help you off on the side. Also, you can also check out, if you're not a member already, you might be, Andrew, I'm not quite sure. On Facebook, I've created a private user group for all Studio Live users, specifically Studio Live Series 3 users. So go to facebook.com and search for the PreSonus Studio Live Series 3 page, and you'll see the group there. If you're not a member already, just ask to join. I look at all of those every single day. I'll make sure I approve you so you can become a member. And you can post the same question there because I'm sure there'll be other users in the community that can help us as well. So I hope that answers your question. If I didn't, I apologize. But again, thanks for writing in, Andrew, and I hope to see you over there at the Facebook group. And now let's head on over to question number 2. Okay, question number 2 comes from Robert, and Robert writes in, "Hey Dave, I have a question regarding the Locations tab in Studio One. If I change the user data location under the options to work with my internal hard drive, the C drive, for recording, and save the actual song file to my external hard drive, the F drive, under the save location, when creating a song, will I get better overall performance as far as CPU usage and disk performance is concerned? In other words, can I have Studio One record the songs to my internal drive, but save the actual song files to an external USB hard drive? Thanks again, Dave." Robert. Well, Robert, thanks for writing in. I think I got it. It's a little bit confusing, but I think I understand. Here's what I do to make it even a little simpler. I just record and save everything to an external hard drive. I don't know that you get any better performance by recording the session on your C drive. I guess it really depends on your processor speed and such. I see here you say you have 760 gigs of memory, which doesn't make sense. I don't think you can have 760 gigabytes of RAM in your computer. That sounds like that's maybe a typo. And you have a quad processor. Oh, okay, I see. You have a quad processor with 6 gigs of RAM. I don't think recording on your C drive then saving the song to an F drive is going to, an external drive is going to give you better performance. And again, I might just be confused with the question. Again, it's early in the morning. But what I would do is if you have an external drive already, and this is what I do, I just run everything, recording, saving, mixing, mastering, everything to an external drive. The only thing that's on my internal C drive, even though I'm using a Mac, is the application for Studio One. And I get great performance. Now I have Thunderbolt drives, which are going to give you high transfer speeds. I don't know that you need that. You can use USB 3 drives as well, but if you have ability to have Thunderbolt, you may want to go ahead and see if you can use a Thunderbolt drive, an external Thunderbolt drive, and just do everything off the external drive. I think that'll also help you in the long run, making sure that if you record on one drive and then try to save things to another and you're moving files around, you can screw things up, and then one day you're going to try to open up one of your song files and it's going to be missing audio files or something like that. So I would say, Robert, try to do everything from an external drive. If your internal drive, your C drive, or your computer itself, if you only have 6 gigs of RAM, that's not a lot. Again, this might be a typo because I see something that says 760 gigs of memory, which I'm not quite sure what that means. I would max out the RAM in your computer, regardless if it's Mac or PC. If you can have a minimum of 16 gigs of RAM or 32 or 64 gigs of RAM, memory in the big scheme of things is inexpensive today. Excuse me. So I would max out the RAM first and foremost. You have a quad processor, which should be fine. And I would still then use an external drive, USB 3 or Thunderbolt preferably, but you can use USB 2 as well. And I would use that to do all my recording, saving, everything. And I just think that would be a lot simpler. That's how I've been doing it for years, and I get fantastic performance from my computer. So anyway, I would try that, Robert. And if you're having some other performance issues and such, let me know and I'll try to help you. But I hope that answers your questions. Thanks again for writing in. I really do appreciate it. So now let's get on to question number 3. Okay, last question for this video comes from Scott, and Scott writes in, "Hi Dave, thanks for all your content. I have a Studio 192 and I have a DP88 hooked up to it via the ADAT. Then I have a Focusrite Octopre hooked up to that. That gives me 24 inputs. Is there any way to add one more? I was wondering if I can just add one more input to the Octopre via ADAT. I want to get the PreSonus 2 preamp, which has one input. I guess what I'm asking is, how would I add that to my setup? Thank you, Scott." Well, thanks, Scott, for writing in. So you have a 192 and a DP88 that gives you 16 inputs. That's a fantastic setup. Then you've done a Focusrite Octopre, which gives you another 8, which gives you the 24. That makes sense. And you want to add one more. So you want to add just one more to give you 25. You want the 2 pre. Can you do that? I believe you should be able to hook that up to the Octopre. You should be able to do what you're asking with a PreSonus 2 preamp. But now you have four units. I mean, I guess that can be done. I've never done that. I would tell you if you just wanted that many inputs to just, go something like a Studio Live mixer. But anyway, that's not what you're asking. I think the answer to your question is yes. You should be able to hook up the 2 preamp, PreSonus 2 Pre, which has one input, to the ADAT. Okay, the 2 preamp, that's that little, I'm thinking that's not an interface though, right? I think that's the little old tube, the little 2 pre, the little mic pre. You want to hook that up to the Octopre. What I would do is I would take that PreSonus 2 preamp and I would plug it into one of the channels on the Octopre or one of the channels on the 192 on the line in, not the XLR jack, and that will bypass the actual preamp in the interface, so you're using the preamp in the 2 pre. I hope that makes sense. You should be able to do that. I would not go from the 2 pre into an XLR on one of these other units, because then you're like double preamping it. I don't know if the Studio 192 has some kind of internal circuitry that if it senses a second preamp going through the XLR jack, that it kind of switches it to the line in. I know it does that on the Studio Live mixers, but I don't know about the 192. The easiest way is just take the 2 pre, output of the 2 pre into one of the line ins on your Focusrite Octopre. That'll bypass the preamp and you'll only be hitting it once with the preamp, and you should be able to do it that way. I've never used the 2 preamp, but I know that's a way to do it. So I hope that answers your question, Scott. Let me know if that works. If not for some reason, email me again and I will try to help you even further. Okay, thanks for writing in. So that's it for this week's Questions and Coffee with David. Thanks so much for joining me once again. Please hit the subscribe button. Please go out to Facebook and follow me there. I really do appreciate it. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Home Recording Made Easy. And again, head out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com for all your training needs around mixing, mastering, recording in your home studio. And until the next Questions and Coffee segment, I've been David Vignola with homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Thank you guys for your support, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care.